Okay. Hey y'all, my name is LaJoie Fortune, for those of y'all who don't know. And I wanted to do a review on the Blueprint for Godpower 2 workshop that I did this past Sunday. Um, and just like kind of going over what I experienced and like the benefits that I'm already experiencing from having done the workshop. And but first, sorry, I need to I have my notes here because otherwise I'm just babbling, right? Um, First, I want to say thank you to Billy Carson, Dr. Sirius, and Rich for like having this workshop because it was incredible. It was life changing. And what the workshop was on Sunday and it's Tuesday, and I'm already feeling the effects of some of the practices that they had talked about, and now I have implemented into my daily routine. And it's crazy, but I'm gonna talk about that more later. But I just wanted to say thank you. I'm so grateful that I was able to do this workshop. I'm grateful that I was able to afford to do this workshop, and I'm grateful that the price was reasonable. Like I think that's my biggest thing. A lot of these like workshops and stuff, these like, influencers or motivational speakers or just like elders too, like not that y'all are elders, okay, y'all still young, okay, but but just like kind of wisdom workshops, that's what I would say, because you have to be a certain age to really share wisdom, or have certain experiences. But anyway, just this wisdom workshop. A lot of these workshops are like thousands of dollars or even like 500, $600, and it's like that's a huge chunk for some of us who are working minimum wage or um don't have all the money in the world. So I just really wanted to say thank you for making it a reasonable price. The price of the workshop was about $150, but this is for 11 hours, y'all. 11 hours of information. Like, it was a lot. I think they scheduled it to be 7 hours, but it went way over. And I'm very thankful for that too, because they didn't have to, go overtime. And even though it was 11 hours, they still didn't get to everything they wanted to get to, which was crazy. But I'll talk about that more later. Um, but yeah, like it was such a steal. But honestly, I love that they made it, $150, because I think it was a reasonable amount. And with a price like that, you're able to impact more people. And I just really wanted to say thank you to them for making the price reasonable. Um, and really empowering more people to have access to that knowledge. Because, like I said, there's a lot of these wisdom workshops that are ridiculous amounts of money that I think, a lot of these influencers or wisdom keepers or whatever, they're really disallowing a lot of people to have access to that information. And like I said, I know everyone needs to make money. I get it. But the price point was very reasonable in my opinion for the amount of information that we received. And and I think I'm also kind of empowering some of y'all wisdom keepers, wisdom people who have a lot of wisdom, to really look at this. I think they ended up having about, I want to say 4,000, maybe more people go to this workshop. And that's impact. That's a lot of people. And again, I think the price really made a huge difference in that. um yeah, that was just incredible. Okay, so let's move on. So right. So the workshop was, it's called Blueprint for God Power 2. I know some of y'all might think that's like not it's blasphemy, or but it wasn't really about, well, no, let me just get into it. So it was really giving you the keys to really be the best version of yourself, and giving you not just the keys, but the practices and the actionable steps that you need to just get to the best version of yourself, to really bring heaven to earth, and bring heaven to you in your own way. And they gave so many resources and activities, and not even activities, just actionable steps towards this, and a lot of hacks that like I kind of didn't even think about using. um and so I think for that, like, they really, expanded or allowed me to expand, what the highest version of myself looks like. And really brought awareness to a lot of things. Like, one of the things that Billy Carson talked about was how, and this is a really important one too, because I think with all this technology and YouTube and all of these, like, all of these avenues to inform ourselves, at the end of the day, there are still, like, probably more than million, maybe billions of books that have been written in history, that hold all of this knowledge that the internet just doesn't have. As much information is on the internet, at the end of the day, there have been so many more books written throughout the history of time. You know there's a lot of information on the internet, but it's not most of the information, and there's still a lot, if not, like, I would say 90% of the information is still put on books. You still have to read. And I think Billy Carson, he brought that to light through one of the practices that he shared in the workshop. And so, yeah, that was one of the biggest things for me from Billy's workshop, because yeah, I was just like, duh, like, like, yeah, there's still so much information in books, and so we really need to start going back to books. Even me, I'm at fault for this. I don't really read that much. I mean, I'll read articles and stuff like that, but I won't really read. I haven't probably read a whole book. I mean, I guess I read one book this year, but that's it. It's not really a lot. And one of the obstacles for me, in particular, was because I'm a slow reader. Like, I can still comprehend everything, but I'm not a fast reader. And so that kind of discourages me from reading a lot. But Billy, he talks about that in the workshop. Okay, let me see what else. Okay, so what else did they talk about in the workshop? So actually, let's go back real quick. Let's go to the start, which was Dr. B. Sirius. He really talked about kinesiology. I think it's kinesiology. I need to, like, okay, let me hold on real quick. I'm gonna get my journal out just to, like, go over some of the stuff that they went over, because my brain is like, I want to make this kind of clear for y'all. So okay, I'm just gonna highlight some of the stuff that he talked about in his. So he talked about, language, and how we can leverage language to really attract what we want in life and attract our desires. And not just language, but using, not, I mean, when I say language, not just speaking, but especially thinking. We have, we're taught, I think, in this society to think, in my opinion, too much, and to use that, I want to say left brain. I think that's the left brain, right hand. Yeah. Left brain. And he talks about how we need to really use our right brain more also. But he talked about course correction, and how 90% of your course correction, or 90% of your journey, is course correction. And I never thought about that before too, but that was a really big key for me, was kind of readdressing yourself, to your destination. I don't know, for me, it was a huge epiphany, because, in the past 4 years, I had, like, certain goals in mind, but I never achieved them. Because I kept on just going off in this direction and going off in this direction. And I really love that about my journey, to be honest, because some of it, like, I had experiences and I gained wisdom that if I hadn't gone in that direction, I wouldn't have gained. But that was a really big thing for me. And I'm really trying not to give away, a lot of the stuff. I'm just trying to breeze over it, so that those of y'all who watch this video, y'all can, you're being encouraged to go to the workshop, because it's worth it. It's worth it. He talks about thinking and speaking in alignment of your heart's desire, and how to do that. And he gives you, basically, what do he call it? He talks about kinesiology, and kind of using our movement to help us stay in the path of our heart's desires. And actually I used one of his methods today, this morning, and I'm implementing it into my morning routine because it did wonders. For like, it was crazy. I did one of his practices, and then I did one of Billy Carson's. I almost said like Billy Cyrus. It's ridiculous. Anyway, Billy Carson's practices. And after I did both of those, it was like my cup of coffee in the morning. It was like when after I do exercise in the morning. But I just did two little practices, and I felt incredible. Like, I actually, and it's funny too, because like, I have been doing different wellness practices and morning practices for the past 4 years, and sometimes I do feel like that, sometimes I don't. But this was the first practice where I did it for the first time by myself, and I actually felt the effects of it. Other practices I've done, I had to feel the effects over time, or I'll do it with like a teacher or a guru, and then I'll feel the effects. But this was the first time I did both of them, and I was like, wow, I feel amazing. And it's, early in the morning still, and I haven't had coffee. I haven't done my exercise, because usually my exercise is how I kind of boost my energy in the morning. And I felt incredible. So that was amazing. Okay, so what else did he talk about? Conscious speech progression. He talked about how you need to think more before you speak. And he even goes to say, think 5 times before you speak, which is like a huge delay. And I was kind of like, I don't know in practice, like how that's really going to look. If you're having a conversation and you need to like think 5 times, and your like brain is buffering. And I'm sure the more you do it, the faster that process is. But that was one thing where I was just like, people are going to think I'm crazy, but it's okay. Oh, he talks about some herbs and stuff, kind of briefly, but he does talk about some herbs that you can use to help align yourself with your heart. And this is one thing that I've been personally working on the past year, is how do I align myself with my heart? And I did certain practices, and I did align myself with my heart. And sometimes it did leave me questioning, like, is this the right move, But it was great to have other resources for that. Oh, he talked about speaking the solution 80% of the time. A lot of us, we talk about the problems we have most of the time. And he says to switch it and talk about the solution. Okay, I'll stop there with the, if y'all watching this, I'm sorry, but I really wanted to share this with people. He talks about word alchemy, and he talks about, like, he gives examples of the words we normally say, like, I should blank, I would do blank. And he talks about the alternatives that will actually put us in the position we need to be to have that desire fulfilled. What time is it? Oh, it's 12 minutes already, y'all. It's a long one. Create a goal-minded. Oh, he talks about how to create more effective affirmations, which I've already implemented into my daily affirmation routine. Okay, so now we can get into Billy Carson. Billy Carson, he went into an alternative universe meditation, or a parallel universe meditation. In this meditation, he kind of walks you through the steps you need to take to kind of meet a parallel self. So, for example, I used it to meet my entertainment aspect of myself, because that's something that I want to work on right now. But that was very interesting. So I did that meditation, and when I met my like parallel universe self, who was an entertainer, who was a comedian, she was actually not happy. I mean, she was like so entertaining and people loved her. But she was not. So yeah, I'll stop there. I don't want to give too much, but yeah, she wasn't happy. So it was interesting meeting that version of myself. And it's still something that I want to achieve, but it was very interesting. So he talked about this, and he talks about how to do this in the workshop. And he actually talks you through, he gives you a guided meditation for this, essentially. He talks about his compendium of the Emerald Tablets. And he actually gives you excerpts from the book, and he talks about specifically how it relates to not just being your highest self, but how it relates to the Bible. He also gives biblical references that talk about the same exact thing. And again, you have to do the research for yourself, but based off of what I saw, and I had to pause the video and look at like the comparison for myself because I was like, wait a minute, because this isn't exactly the same. But when you look at it, it does reference the same actions and the same type of what is it? The same. How do I put this? It references the same references. No, it references kind of the same steps you need to take to get to a certain place. That's what I would say. He also like gave his advice on well, yes, I really like this because like Dr. Seirus, he gave advice on kind of what you can do throughout the day, throughout your lifestyle to keep you on track. And then Billy Carson talks about the meditations you do before you go to bed, in the morning, and to help you realign yourself to staying on track with your heart and your heart's purpose and fulfilling your purpose. So Billy Carson, he talked about what did he do? So he talked about how you can leverage your dreams to manifest your reality before you go to bed. So that's your nighttime practice. And then personally, I do the morning practice of the parallel universe meditation in the morning to help align myself in the morning. And then on top of that, he also talks to you about how to leverage your shower time to get rid of negative thoughts and to manifest your reality. And he talks about this extensively. He gives you step-by-step instructions. Dr. B. Sirius also does the same. So that's actually a really good overview of the workshop. I think the workshop is still available for purchase. I'm not really sure where, and I don't know if I think it is possible for purchase on the Forbidden Knowledge website. I will try to leave that link in the description so y'all can like check that out. But like I said, it's already changed my life. It's day 2. So what I did was like on Sunday, let me talk about what I did to get to this point. It's only Tuesday. It's only been 2 days since the workshop. So Sunday I did the workshop. I took notes. But I didn't review the notes because I arrived home late. I just didn't have the time. Monday, I kind of forced myself an hour before I went to bed to review the notes and review any information that I missed while I was taking notes. So I went back to the video. And even now, I think I still had to return to the video again this morning. But anyway, so then I kind of wrote in my notes, pick 2 activities to do to implement into my daily routine. And the 2 that I picked were Dr. B. Sirius's, what he do? He did another one that I forgot to mention. He explains an activity, a kinesiology activity that you can do to help align with your heart. And I love his practices because you don't need anything. Like I mean, it's great to have the supplements and the herbs and the tinctures. Those are great. But as somebody who travels a lot, I don't always have access to that stuff. And I'm not always in countries where I can ship it to that country. And because of my lifestyle and how I'm moving everywhere, it doesn't really work out for me. But so I love his practices because you don't need anything to do them and they help kind of realign you. And I love it. I love it. So I did one of his practices first thing when I woke up in the morning. And then the second thing I did was the parallel universes meditation. To kind of, and there's something about that meditation too. It's not just like going to the parallel universe. I think maybe it's the music too, but it really heightens my frequency. Maybe it's the music that he plays. And they actually provide you with a meditative sound bath, I guess. That's like 22 minutes long. And I think not this week, but next week, I'm going to try to do the meditation just with the sound bath, just to see. My stomach is hungry, but we're almost there, just to see, like, if it was just the sound bath or if it was the meditation itself. We'll see, just to experiment. But yeah, this was just an incredible workshop. Well, I mean, definitely worth over $150. But again, I'm really happy that they capped it at that. One thing, let me see if did I go over everything? The time. So Yeah, we'll see topics. I know I'm going through this fast, y'all, but it's extensive. Um, I do want to go over some not critiques, but some like suggestions for like next year. Because I know they're gonna do this again because it was just again life changing. Um, but yeah, I mean, it was worth it. And if y'all have $150, and when you think about it, really think about where you spend your money, right? So instead of going out shopping and buying and maybe four things now, because that's all you can buy with $150 nowadays, I spent money on this workshop and it was worth it. It was completely worth it. Like I said, it's only been 2 days since I did the workshop, and I'm already experiencing the effects from putting their advice and their stuff into practice. So, really recommend. Okay, so suggestions for next year. So like I said, they intentioned, 7 hours at 10, let me see, 10 a.m. And, I think they know themselves pretty well. And we know themselves. I know themselves. And we know them too. And it's like, 6 hours. Yeah, okay. So they changed it from 6 hours, 11 to 7, from 10 Eastern time to 10 to 7. So 7 hours, and it didn't even go 7 hours and went 11 hours. So one thing that I would really suggest, and I'm pretty sure they're already thinking about this for next year, is doing a 2-day workshop. Now, if they do a 2-day workshop, I really suggest for them, um, do 2 6-hour days, but still kind of, maybe have a third person to do a 2-hour segment or some, because I think it is worth it to have that much information from them. But it seemed like they did need breaks. Like it was a lot. I mean, it's a lot for everybody, it's like 4 or 5 hours each. Like that's a lot. That's a lot of talking for anybody. So just having a second person or a third person to kind of be that buffer, and to not have them kind of do a lecture, but have them do an activity or something that they can do that's gonna be, an hour or 2 hours long, so they can take a break. Um, but focused enough so that they're not, taking 3 4 hours also. Um, but yeah, 2 days would be great. A 2-day workshop would be amazing. I think 3 days, it kind of turns into like a conference. And I think, I don't know, even with 2 days, it would be hard for me to commit a whole day, a whole 2 days to that. So that's like my only thing. And this is a personal thing, honestly. Maybe, other people are different. But I kind of love that it was one day. But again, it kind of sucked because like there was some stuff that, well, maybe I don't know about Billy Carson, but I know there's some stuff that Dr. Sirius wanted to get into that he wasn't able to get into because of time, and that I kind of wanted him to get in more into depth with, and he just didn't. So I mean, he said that there was a workshop that he was going to do on his website, or an extension of the workshop on his website, so we can always do that. And I'm gonna get on the email list for all of that. But yeah, and then he had to speed through some stuff pretty quickly, which I was also like, I kind of wanted him to talk in some more into depth. But at the end of the day, it was fine because you have the playback, so you can go back and pause and kind of like comprehend what he was talking about. But yeah, I think next year should be 2 hours, and so they can fit everything that they need to in that. And maybe even having one day doing the same content from this year for people who didn't get it, or maybe not. I don't know. I'm not gonna give suggestions on that. I think they can figure that out. So yeah, so the time was a big one for me. And by time I mean like it just sucked that they couldn't fit everything that they needed to, or that they needed to in it. Um, the course itself, yeah, I mean, it was great. Topics covered was great. Like I said, I went over all the y'all. Um, so that was a big one. But if they do 2 days next year, I don't know. I really, that's how I feel about them up in the price. And I don't know if they feel the same way, but I really hope that they can leave it at $150 for the one day, especially because again, they're impacting so many people. And I think that's the biggest thing for me. And that price point allowed them to do that. I think if they had made it $300 for one day, I don't know if I would have signed up for it, to be honest. So if they do 2 days next year, um, I just suggest that they keep with the $150 per day. And then if people do 2 days, maybe do 250 or even 225, but that's possible. 225, that's a good number. That's nine. That's a good number. So like if they do 225 for 2 days, that would be great. I guess if they do 250, okay, you save $50. That's great. But this is coming from me, and this is coming from a person who I've implemented giving money away into my life goals. And when I say giving money, like one of the things that I want to do with my life is give away $1 billion. And this is the first time I've said this on the internet. But yeah, that's one of my life goals, is to give away $1 billion. So I'm a person who really wants to give a lot. But also I think I'm onto something too, because a lot of these like younger, like Gen Z influencers, they talk about this. They talk about one of the biggest aspects to, I guess, gaining more followers and gaining more of an influence and stuff like that is giving stuff for free. And a lot of the courses that they do, they give it away for free because they get their money from other aspects of their brand. So again, if Dr. Be Serious and Billy Carson is watching, think about it. Just think about it. I'm not saying to make it for free, but low key, it would be kind of amazing if it was free. Just saying. But just think about that concept too. If you want to reach younger people, giving stuff away for free, that's the move. And from the research that I've done, okay, that's the move. So I think that's it. That's it for my review of Blueprint for Godpower 2. Thank you so much. And thank you one more time to Rich for promoting this. And thank you. He has, in my opinion, and his name is Rich Mary, I want to say. I'm not really sure. But he has a podcast. And I actually don't know what it's called. But I don't know his YouTube name. Actually, I'll put in the link below. But I just want to say thank you to him. He has probably the best podcast on YouTube, on the internet, point blank, period. And I have learned so much wisdom from our elders, from people who have been, elevating their lives. And people from different religious backgrounds too, which is what I love about his podcast. He really interviews everybody to really show that we're all in it together. We're all here to elevate everybody and to get people on a higher vibration. Like, doesn't matter what background you're coming from, doesn't matter what religion you're coming from. We're all here for the same purpose, for the same reason. And like I said, I really do believe he has the best podcast on YouTube, on the internet. So check it out. His link's in the description below. But yeah, I've learned so much. So thank you also, Rich. Thank you so much for your podcast. Incredible work. So that's it. That's my review. And I know this was more informational, but y'all, I had to get this. I had to get it out there. So I love y'all so much. I'll see y'all next time. Peace.